Wednesday, December 5th here at the West End Gun Club. I'm here at the rimfire range of the facility, or the rimfire firing line of the facility. Obviously going to shoot some rimfire, but one gun in particular that I wanted to break out today is a little project that I worked on a few weeks ago that I made an allusion to in the previous vlog. I didn't say what it was, but I did mention I was working on a project, and we're going to check that out today. But it's actually raining right now here at the West End facility here in the Lytle Creek Meyers Canyon area. It's just light rain. It's not too bad. And from what I understand on the weather report, the satellite footage is supposed to be pushing northeast, so it's going to clear up, or it's going to stop raining in about 45 minutes or so from now. So it's light, so it shouldn't wet the targets too much, and we should be able to get some good shooting in today. And won't be in any danger of getting flooded out in the creek trying to exit, so we should be good to go. Anyway, let's just get set up and start shooting. Check. Since I'm at the rimfire range, it's obvious that I'm shooting a rimfire. And this particular project that I was working on the past couple weeks is this. This is a 1022 Takedown. I didn't say Ruger because by definition, this is a Brownells 1022 Takedown. This uses the Brownells receiver. This is their BRN 22 TR, which means they have two versions. They have the 22T and the 22 TR. This is the railed version, the Picatinny rail version. So that's what I have here. It's built pretty much on all non-Ruger parts except the bolt and the recoil spring and the lever or the charging handle. More on that later. But essentially this is a takedown rifle that I put together myself. The reason why I decided to do this is because of this backpacker stock that MAGPUL came out with back in SHOT Show 2017. I thought it was really cool. I didn't really think too much about the takedowns, the Ruger takedowns at the time. They came out 5 years ago? They came out a while ago. I didn't really think too much of them. But when MAGPUL came out with their backpacker stock, I thought this was a cool idea as far as just being nice, and you know, it just comes together and it's just one solid unit that you just can throw in a small bag. Granted, the length of this, I didn't measure it, but I don't think this fits in most slim bags, but I have a tape measure here. I'm going to do that right now, actually. I think the length is 19 inches, about 19 and a half inches, 20 inches nominal, depending on how it sits. So you need a 20-inch tall backpack, which there are several, but I wanted to go with something small, really thin and compact as far as a bag to throw this in. But right now, the bags that I have that would fit this lengthwise probably are just too big. So I'm looking at a bag, and obviously Ruger has their own bag, but they're kind of expensive if you try to get them on the private party, or just from buying them used or secondhand from somebody. So I'm actually in the market for something. This Uncle Mike's bag is actually designed for shotguns, over-unders. Like has little pockets here for over-unders, and I actually use this for upper receivers, for ARs, to store them. But I use this right now just to take this to the range in a soft case. But this would be good if I can maybe Uncle Mike sells one that's smaller or shorter. This actually fits pretty well. But anyway, I should probably go ahead and just discuss this rifle, the parts right now. So obviously it's a Brownells receiver, which I mentioned earlier. It's their BRN 22 TR. I have a Ruger bolt, Ruger charging handle assembly with that recoil spring. It's got a Tactical Solutions, I believe this is a 16-inch barrel. It's their fluted barrel that they sell. I think they only sell one kind of takedown barrel, just different finishes. Comes with iron sights on it. The trigger is a Kid trigger kit. It's a single stage, preset to 1.5 pounds at the factory. And that's sort of it, I think. There's not many parts to this thing. Just chuck it together like that. Let the charging bolt, the bolt fly forward a couple times to set the barrel or whatever. And that's it, and you have iron sights. Oh, and this backpacker stock, sorry, the MAGPUL X22 backpacker stock is the stock I chose. I specifically wanted this stock because of the modularity, or the way it's designed. It fits in a compact package. And it does hold 3 magazines, and you can reconfigure it to hold 1 magazine in a box of like ammo. It's like a small, you know, small 50 round box, but this will hold the 3 1022 Ruger mags. Kind of cool. I thought it's a really nice, nifty field rifle, survival rifle. I mean, I have a 1022, which I did not bring my other 1022. I've had that for years. I think I had since 2000, maybe, roughly. But this is a nice field rifle, right? If you were like into you want a survival rifle, this is kind of cool. Now, going in, I didn't want to I'm not trying to get uber accuracy out of this thing, but I would just like something that holds 0 relatively. And I've heard stories about how these things don't hold 0 very well. But it's a nice, fun project, and I'll mess around with this and see what I can do with it. But I think this is kind of cool. My parts listing, I spent a lot more money than you probably would have needed to for this type of gun. You could just buy an off-the-shelf rifle from Ruger. I think they run for about $400 for a takedown, give or take, depending on where you live, like what region of the country. But it would have been cheaper just to get an off-the-shelf rifle. But I bought the receiver for like $129 from Brownells. There's a discount right now because it's kind of introductory discount that they're trying to do to get these things out in the ranges, you know, out for people to own them. But the barrel was like $250, the trigger was $200, the bolt was like $40, the stock was $100. So you spent a lot of money right there, you know, a lot more money than you would have needed to build something like this. But this is what I wanted to try out, and I figure it would have been more fun to put this together rather than buying an off-the-shelf rifle, simply because it's just more fun to do it that way. So I sacrificed as far as cost savings there. But anyway, enough talking. Let's go ahead and try to get the iron sights dialed in, see if it works, because actually the rear iron sight and the front sight, the pick rail actually blocks the sight alignment. So I'm not entirely sure if I just need to run it up a little bit, and that'll actually zero it in at 25, 50 yards, and it'll clear the pick rail. But Tax Solutions, when they sell their rifles complete, they have the same setup. Their own receiver is pick railed, has the same height. So I'm guessing this should be suitable. I'm not sure if they sell a taller front sight post, but we'll see. And I also have my Weaver. I did bring my Weaver T36, which is my trusty testing scope or whatever. I always take this off of different rifles to you know, just use whenever I need to. So I have this T36 fixed power scope, 36 power, and then some loophole rings I had sitting around. I was trying to sell these, but I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't sell them because I actually need to use them for this project or for this scope in this system. So, but yeah, let's start shooting. Nine rounds, right? You sure? So I got the long mag release with my OEM trigger that I modified in my other 1022, my standard one. I just put the Volquartsen extended mag release, but it's not. I wanted this long one for a field style rifle so you can actually rest it on stuff, because the Volquartsen extended mag release that sticks out, it actually extends beyond here. So if you want to set this, jam it against a bag, you might drop the mag. So this one, you can rest this trigger guard on something and it won't affect the magazine release, because the magazine release is based on pulling the lever down. So okay, get that last round off. We'll go walk out there and take a look at where it's sitting, or the groups are landing. Granted, my eyesight is bad, right, in terms of I can see at infinity. My glasses are set for that, but I can't really see the rear sights. I can see the front sights. I sort of aligned the green dots because they're fiber optics, if you can kind of see it here. But the groups aren't going to be that great, but I just want to see where it's landing right now, because I'm going to throw a scope on it just to see if the iron sights, the way they're run up to clear the pick rail, they're just enough to get you on a target. So that's what I'm really caring about right now. Granted, I need someone else to look at this to make sure that it's actually tested out. But if my dad were here, he can shoot it for me. But anyway, let's go take a look at the target. Should have wore a hat to protect my glasses from getting wet while we're out in the rain, but decided to wear the watch cap because it's Actually kind of cold out here. So I shot it. I have bunch of pacers set up on my target board, and I shot low on the low target here, and it looks like they're all hitting high. So I was aiming at this, shooting up. So I'm gonna try to shoot center mass and see where that lands. We're at 25 yards, but the iron sights, as far as windage are concerned, they're it is lined up, but it's all about the elevation. So not good. Let me try to readjust and try to shoot 6 o'clock in center mass to see if it's still shooting high. Still shooting high, that means you got to run down the rear sight a little bit more, which may or may not clear the pick rail for short range. So, and earlier, before this walkout, I made that reference to how I can't see the rear sight. What I mean to say is I cannot focus very well on the rear sight, so it's really, really blurry, right? So it's hard for me to line up the iron sights now. If I hold the pistol, it's better, but the way my eyes are set up, because I have a synthetic lens in my right eye from cataract surgery several years ago, that my eyes cannot refocus. My eye, your natural lens can focus. That's how your eyes work. Mine can't. It's fixed. So my corrective lenses fix me to focus at infinity. So I can see really close. I can see far away up to a certain point, like maybe 5 yards or no. Maybe up to a yard and a half where it's really in focus. But once I get within hand range, it starts, my right eye cannot focus on that item or that whatever I'm looking at. So that's why iron sights are now a problem for me. And so that's why I probably need to get a red dot, and that's why I use scopes on most rifles now. That's right, I can afford to run down the rear sight a little bit. See what that stands. No, you cannot. So this is an interesting issue. If you're going to get a 1022 takedown and you want to run the iron sights on Attack Solutions barrel, you're probably going to want to get the smooth top receiver, or see if they make a fiber optic. They might make a fiber optic sight that sits taller, front sight. So we'll see how that works. We're going to shoot 6 o'clock, hold on the bottom target. I'm going to try to shoot without glasses here, which I can't because I cannot see the edges of the bottom. So this is the interesting aspect of my vision conditions. Wow, that was 10 rounds? It did not strip. That was 10 rounds. Oh, it didn't strip. Okay, so we're having feeding issues a little bit here. Could just be the mags. Although this rifle needs to be broken in, so. Usually you want to shoot higher velocity rounds when you're breaking in a new 1022. I mean, that's just been the consensus. I think the rain is starting to let off. Not really coming down much. A few sprinkles here and there. Wind is really good. It's only about 3 miles an hour or so at most. Yeah, it looks like it's hitting high. So if you're going to run an iron sight, the iron sights right now, I'm running it, I shot here, it hit here, so you're really high. I've got the iron sights low enough that it clears the pick rail and you can see the edges, and the fire optic dots a little bit. So for that Tac Solutions barrel, on at least my gun, if you're gonna run the Tac Solutions iron sights with the BRN 22TR or any other rail receiver, you're probably gonna need a taller front sight. Now I don't remember them putting a taller front sight in the box. I may call them up, send them an email, and figure out what it's drilled for. This may or may not be. I don't know what kind of base they use for this. Seems like a single screw. Maybe it's pinned or something. But if they make a taller front sight, that's what you'll need. Anyway, let's throw a scope on it to see what the accuracy is like, and we'll test the return to zero. I've had this Weaver T36 for, I don't know, 12, 13 years. It's a nice scope. It's a 1-inch tube. You can get it silver or black, but it's got a fine crosshair. It's really great for bench rush shooting because you get, it's 1/8 MOA clicks too, so pretty cool. Got these loopholes, quick release QRW rings. I actually had these for maybe not even 2 years, but I've had a set of these for forever, 20 years or so, because I bought these a long time ago when I really didn't know too much about scopes, rings, and stuff, and I thought these were cool because they're quick release. They're good scopes, for hunting rifle or whatnot. But I actually broke the quick release lever on them, and so Loophole does a lifetime warranty, so I went ahead and sent them in and got a new set. So these have been sitting in my cabinet for a while, and I actually put them on Calguns or something to try to sell them because I figured somebody else could use them. And nobody wanted to buy them. Maybe I was charging too much for them or what. But I'm glad I still have them because I'm actually going to use them right now. Obviously, this is not the most ideal way to install a scope. I mean, we're going to want to level this off a little bit more, but I'm just going to wing the turrets, like as far as wing it, as far as alignment, and looking back here, as far as lining up the reticle. This isn't going to stay on here for very long, this scope. But we're just going to use this to test grouping and test return to zero. When return to zero, meaning when I break apart disassemble the halves and I put them back on, will it return to zero? Because a lot of people complain that doesn't work either. So obviously there's a lot of inherent design. The way it's designed, obviously it's design flaw, but the way it's designed, you're not going to get a return to zero completely. But I would expect it to be within a minute of angle, hopefully, maybe. We'll see. That's why we're out here. Got a 15-inch pound. I don't know what this is spec'd for. Maybe I should look. But generally 15 is appropriate. Due to design, they will need expanded, blah, blah, blah. Wow, 28-inch pounds. That's a lot. .28-inch pounds. I'm going to stick with 15. Can do 20. I'll do 20. We'll do 20. I don't know about 15, but I'll do 20. Or 28, but I'll do 20. I don't have a 28. I have a 25 here. But yeah, that's a lot to me. But it's loopholed specs, so if they're saying 28, I guess it can take 28. Where's my other half here? There it is. So I think we're relatively aligned on the turret cap. I'm just eyeballing it right now. So I got the 20-inch pound torque limiter on here. This is a Fix-It Sticks Slokey. And I need to take my earring protection so I can hear it click. People have asked me about torque wrenches. Definitely, I think if you're going to get a torque wrench, get that fat wrench from Wheeler. It's good enough. These Fix-It Sticks are kind of expensive, because you're buying a torque limiter and you're getting them in different ranges, and they're about 30 bucks a piece, 20, 30 bucks. The reason why I like them is because of the compact size. I can throw it in this kit here, and it holds my Fix-It Sticks bits, and I got like 5 limiters in here. It's smaller than a fat wrench, and you can theoretically drop these and you won't really affect it too much. Won't affect it at all, rather. Wheeler fat wrench, I don't know if you drop it, it could ruin the calibration. But anyway, I like the Fix-It Sticks for size. But if you're going to be in the garage or your workshop or whatever and need an inch-pound torque wrench, just get a Wheeler fat wrench. I think you get them from Midway or Brownells, and they're not even that much. Even Amazon, you might get them for like 35, 40 bucks. Okay. I think we have a 0. Has a weird recoil on this thing. Of course, it could just be the bags. So, all right. We have a 25-yard 0. I think 25-yard is too close to determine whether or not there's 0 shift. So we'll go ahead and punch it out to 50. I'm going to go ahead and shoot like a 10-round group. on 3 different pasters. I'll shoot, or sorry, a 10-round group, break it apart, reassemble it, shoot another 10-round group, break it apart, reassemble it, shoot another 10-round group, and we'll see what that looks like as far as zero shift. All right, so we punched it out to 50 yards, 48 and a half roughly, but we're gonna go ahead and fire a 10-round group, break the gun apart, and shoot another 10-round group, break the gun apart, shoot another 10-round group, and we'll see how this shifts. But I do need to confirm zero, or I should just go ahead and just shoot and hope and just go based on that. But I have an orange paster out there that I can use. Okay, we're high. Let's shoot 10, let's shoot a few rounds here. Okay, I think the gun is just not that accurate because I thought it was shooting high, but it's not really. Shooting a pretty big spread, so we'll go ahead and just leave it as is because usually a 25 and a 50-yard zero on a 22 should be roughly the same based on trajectory. We fired a 10-round group. We're going to go ahead and break apart the gun. So generally, the way you're supposed to do it is drop the mag, of course, unload, lock the bolt back or hold the bolt back, and then what you're going to do is just use this little lever on the bottom to break the gun loose. And try not to hit the scope bell when I'm doing this because got much clearance, but that's it. Then we're going to go ahead and clean that off. Yeah. Go ahead and throw that back on. Generally just with the bolt back, go ahead and put on and twist. Then what you're going to do is go ahead and you're going to bring the bolt back and let it fly forward a few times to get the barrel and the bolt to set, all that whole barrel assembly. But it's already been pre-adjusted. I'm going to have an article on this 1022 project later on my blog, but I'll discuss what you need to do as far as adjustment. But we're going to go ahead and load up another mag of 10 rounds. And we're going to go ahead and shoot. Okay, we'll repeat the process for a third group. Bolt lock back, drop the mag, twist, remove, gonna go ahead and reassemble, twist, bolt, let the bolt fly home. New mag. Repeat. shot a 10-round group, broke the gun down, shot another 10-round group, broke the gun down, shot another 10-round group. So this is at 50, 48 and a half, 48.7. Take a look at these groups here. Not all that great. I mean, this is probably 2 inches here. This is a 2-inch paster. Got a flyer here. Broke the gun apart, reassembled. Another group shot here. Shooting better than 2 inches here, but you got these flyers here. Then broke the gun apart, reassembled, shot another 10-round group. So it's holding a relative, if anything, it's shifting a little bit left, favoring. Broke the gun apart, shift 0. If you look at the basic group tendency, cone of fire was a little bit left of center. Cone of fire was a little bit left of center, but more on center. Cone of fire a little bit left of center, a bit higher. So I think it's holding a relative 0. These aren't great groups, obviously, for rimfire. I mean, you can shoot better groups than this. You should be able to shoot 1-inch groups at 50 yards with a really good or a really decent 22. Like my CZ, which I did bring today, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to shoot it today, but I did bring it out just in case. But this is what we got. Not terrible, but it seems for the purpose of showing you that it holds a 0 after being broken apart. I think this does sort of prove that it does hold a 0. I mean, exclude these flyers out here or whatever happened here. I mean, it looks like it's shooting okay as far as holding a 0 from being disassembled and reassembled. But I mean, that's gonna change over time. Obviously, that we've only got about 50. How many rounds to that? Maybe 75 rounds today, 80 rounds. Need to break it a little bit more. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go get some more paces thrown on there. And we'll shoot a few more groups and then might call it a day. It's getting a little bit wet out here. Trying not to step into anything. And yeah. That was a really wild group, and it looked really bad, and it was all over the place. Not sure. I don't think the rain's an issue here. It could be, could just be the gun. We're going to go ahead and disassemble again. Sorry. Pull forward here, twist, disassemble, barrel assembly. We're going to reassemble, turn, bolt, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Manufactured this plumb bob using some paracord I had in the back of the Jeep, and tied it to the end of my Fix-It Sticks holder. So I'm going to use this to check the level of the targets. The chopper flying overhead. Not sure if you can see that. And anyway, so before we begin, here's the 3 targets that I shot. Really big groups, I'm not gonna lie, bigger than you want. This one closed up pretty well though, not too bad. But anyway, if you notice here, just straight looking at it, it looks like it shifted to the left away from center, because I was aiming at center mass here on these targets, but it kept drifting out to the left. But I'm not entirely sure if I was shooting on level, so let's go ahead and, it definitely not level, the target. So based on this, it does appear that the tendency of the groups is relatively the same, although, yeah, I'm still shooting left of center, so, sorry, trying to hold this plumb bob and my camera at the same time, but even if I'm shooting close to center, the amount of drift away from center is still larger on each subsequent group. So even though I'm not shooting to level here, even though this is not level, shooting to center, I would expect the distance or the gap from group to center to be the same. So there is a bit of a shift. This makes it look a little bit more dramatic, but I would have to say that there is definitely right now a shift here compared to when I was shooting level here. Of course, shooting on the same plane here a little bit better in terms of comparison as opposed to up and down. So you can read into that as it may be. But I'm going to have to retest this when the weather's a little bit better and it's not as wet and cold out here. But right now it's still a little bit inconclusive. I would say that zero shift initially looked fine, but then after the next group of three, shot groups, it definitely appeared that it started to shift to the left. And that first one was really wild, but then it tightened up. So interesting gun, I will say. The rain is let up again. I think it's just coming off and on in waves. I'm not sure if that chopper was just flying around to see if there was anybody at the range. I don't think they've opened up the floodgates on the creek, but we'll find out when we get there. But yeah, I'm pretty much done for the day. As far as this gun is concerned, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, granted that zero shift that we may be dealing with right now, I mean, I'm willing to accept that because this gun is just not designed for bench press repeatability, right? It is what it is. But I think this is a fun gun, and I'm actually a little bit more excited about this than my 224 Valkyrie upper that I built. This is actually more interesting to me. But anyway, I'm gonna look into the optics, figure out what I'm gonna go with that route. I'm gonna email Tactical Solutions about this front sight post and see if they make a taller one, because I would like to be able to use the front sights just to have that usability there. And then I'm probably gonna order a bolt. I think this bolt is rough. The Ruger bolt is rough. As I mentioned earlier, when I received it from Midway, it was rough. It had surface oxidation, I think, on it. It looked like surface oxidation to me. It wasn't fully rusted, but it's carbon steel, unfinished carbon steel, and so it looked dirty and whatnot, and I cleaned it up fine, and it works. But I'm gonna probably go ahead and shell out $100, get a kid trigger, or kid bolt, sorry, kid bolt, and it'll match up with this kid trigger that I have in here. But a little bit disappointed it's OEM bolt. You figure OEM bolt, how hard is it to screw that up, right? Well, apparently Ruger did, right? And yeah, anyway, that's it for this range vlog. Today is Wednesday, December 5th. I gotta look at my watch to make sure. I'm probably gonna hit the range a couple more times before the year is up. I mean, I've got another vacation. I got a day I got to take before the 15th, and I have that whole week of Christmas off. So I'm gonna hit the range at least once or twice, I think, during the winter holiday break. Maybe I'll do a little bit of 224 Valkyrie shooting on the next vlog. If I can head out to Palmdale to shoot some 600 with it, I think that'll be a good test, because I would like to shoot that at longer distances than 100. But yeah, anyway, again, today's Wednesday, December 5th, here at the West End Gun Club with the Brownells 1022 Takedown Rifle. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vlog. Okay, that's the first group. So we're gonna go ahead and break the gun apart. So show what the sound was.